Pakistan's economy is struggling to recover from high inflation and the IMF imposed structural reforms. The business community there is finding the going tough with load shedding affecting their output. Apart from this, they believe that they are paying high taxes to an administration that doesn't seem to be functioning properly. The common man, too, is finding the twin problems of high inflation and power cuts a hard burden to bear. Take a look at this report.
People have been taken to the streets in Pakistan. Supporters of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party and others are rallying against political targeting and soaring electricity bills. Unfortunately, neither issue is expected to be resolved soon.
Inflation is high, electricity bills are high, businesses are getting destroyed, the economy is in shambles. All this is because of our rulers and IPPS. God willing, we will continue the sit-in until our demands are met. We are not getting up before that.
The protests reflect deeper divisions within Pakistani society. The Shahbaz Sharif government faced a new setback when a Gallup Business Confidence Index report revealed widespread criticism from businesses regarding economic mismanagement. Out of 454 businesses surveyed, ranging from small to large, 85% expressed disapproval of the government's strategy.
Remove taxes from the masses, impose those taxes on landlords, remove the taxes from our electricity bills. What nonsense in that you impose 36 different types of taxes in the power bills. You are increasing the rates of power and then increasing taxes on them also.
Inflation soared to 12.6%. The persistent problem for Pakistanis is the continuous disruption of power supply and load shedding. Pakistani authorities want Chinese power plants to shift to local coal rather than use imported coal. China has set up over $20 billion worth of energy projects in Pakistan.
One of the key purposes of me going along is the conversion of our imported coal units to the local Thar coal. That would have a huge impact on the cost of energy of power in the near future.
According to a Gallup survey, 60% of businesses reported severe load shedding issues. This quarter, 16% more businesses noted an increase in power outages due to the strain on the country's energy infrastructure during the summer. Negotiations are underway with Chinese authorities to reschedule energy sector loans. However, the Gallup survey indicates a bleak outlook, with the net future business confidence score now at minus 14%.
It's unpredictable. It's going to be, there is a lot of elasticity of demand, we believe, in terms of price, related to price. But our major challenge is to get the demand to stop shrinking.
The International Monetary Fund has suggested structural reforms to the power sector. Last month, the IMF had agreed on a $7 billion bailout for the heavily indebted South Asian nation. The Economic Brief, DD India.
Well, let's turn to Dr. Amit Kapoor once again. Dr. Kapoor, do you feel that Pakistan's economy, can get out of this crisis with IMF-monitored structural reforms?
Pakistan is a real unfortunate situation that we are seeing right now. It is a complete collapse of an economic, whatever country's balance sheet, if you might want to say it in a very easier term. They are absolutely debt-ridden. There is huge low levels of confidence within the business. Tax rates are going haywire. If you really look at the growth rate, Pakistan's growth rate this year has been 0.2%, and it is expected to grow at about 1.8% with this bailout. So if this bailout is that $7 billion bailout that you're suggesting is not going to be the panacea of all evils, it is just going to be kickstarting to a certain extent of about 1.8%. But keep in mind that Pakistan's population growth is at about 3.5% right now. So that means the per capita income is not going to rise. You're still going to get poorer from a person point of view over a period of time. Inflation is at about 26% right. If that is the level of inflation, that means you're talking about a catastrophic situation out there. I think this whole debt crisis, like Pakistan now has to decide for itself as to who are their friends. Like if you really look at China's strategy per se, It's been a very interesting what I call strategy across the world, across the countries to put them in debt and lead them to a collapsible situation. And that's exactly what has happened with Pakistan as well. So they
Right.
need to be very careful with their friends and really move forward. To get out of it, this bailout is a very small chunk. They have to really do a lot of fiscal prudence. They have to make sure that you are able to take or at least go to those basic things like a food and electricity, shelter, which is protected for its people. That is
Indeed.
the basic thing that you'll have to do to begin with.
Now, you did mention China. Do you think that excessive dependence on China is affecting the business confidence in Pakistan? I mean, the local businesses as well, because the country is dependent on Chinese imports. It's depleting the foreign exchange reserves, and it's not giving the local businessmen enough to compete with. I mean, yeah, yep. Go ahead.
Absolutely. But if you really look at the China thing, like China's scale in front of Pakistan is absolutely humongous. Like it's not even an equal partner. It was a writing on the wall that this is going to happen over a period of time. I think the problem has been that the Pakistan, what do you call, administration has been blindsided onto this reality. And they're focused too much on conflict or whatever and just creating that whole idea of community conflict within their country, and that is what has really pushed them down. It is always going to be that be resilient and really move forward with things. The problem has been that their economic strategy has never had any indication as to what they need to do for the future. What are the sectors they want to get into? We had some great sectors over the past, cotton products and things, but they have effectively killed that. And now, when you talk about Pakistan and China per se, China controls effectively most of the things or that are being sold in Pakistan right now. Pakistan's manufacturing system is effectively dead.
Right.
So that is where the crisis is. If they don't revive it, there is nothing that is going to happen in terms of either jobs. You will inflate continuously. You will not get food. You will get into a crisis of sorts that becomes fairly unbearable. But now the thing is going to be, and I'm just making a huge statement. It is Pakistan. I think the world cannot afford to see Pakistan fail because a
Right.
failed state next to us is going to be a very, very dangerous situation.
Okay.
So maybe at some point in time, the world will have to say that, okay, now Pakistan needs to actually be helped and really move forward
Sure.
and things.
So you mentioned that, but protests are one thing. But what can be done now to motivate business interests to try and recreate some sort of the animal spirits within Pakistan?
So I think, like they can take something from India's book itself. Like India has done something phenomenal over the last few years. I think there are two punctuation points which I say are a great learning experience for any economy in crisis. One was the 1991 crisis that India said. So we opened up. But there was a very important thing that happened in the last 2 years that a lot of people don't realize, and that is about taxes. We reduced the corporate tax to 25%. If you are able to compete on that, that is going to enable a lot of investment because you have to find a way that investments within Pakistan happen, and that too is the private sector investment. So they have to go towards opening up their sectors and let the private investment happen within their country, create those local enterprises, focus on your MSMEs, give some impetus to them. Only then things will start changing. And it is not, it's a fairly difficult battle for them. It's not going to really give results in the next 6 months. It is a 24 month to a 36-month period before anything will start revving up. So that is where it is. So as I said, $7 billion just expected to give about 1.8% growth rate. You're already talking about at least 5 years to 7 years for this economy to just basically stabilize and then move to a certain what I call growth trajectory.
Well, Dr. Amit Kapoor, Chairman of the Institute of Competitiveness and visiting scholar at Stanford University, thank you very much for joining us and enlightening us on these subjects.